Yeah, let's stay guys all the way back to 2006. And let me set the stage for you in 2006. Kurt Angle was fired for drugs from WWE.
Oh man, damn.
He's on a hiatus. He was released, but they were like, it's a temporary release so he can get his shit
I
together.
just, I just, I just booted SmackDown versus Raw 2007, and he's gone.
You go, he's like, Kurt, oh, he left WWE, he's going to get himself checked out. Lo and behold, magic happens. TNA Bound for Glory happens. And there's a vignette of a mysterious wrestler in the shadows. You hear, and then he goes, "It's real. It's damn real." And then that changed TNA. Everybody goes, "Oh shit!" Then he shows up on, I believe, the next Impact taping, or if it wasn't the
The
same
next,
guy,
the next Impact.
it's the next Impact, right? Joe's in the
Yep.
ring. Ah, headbutt to the face. Joe's busted over, and the rivalry begins. Jamal, when that happened, all that stuff happened. What was your immediate reaction to like Angle leaving WWE, joining AEW, headbutting Samoa Joe? And
So
all like,
let me put y'all in perspective of where my head was at in 2006, right? So I just finished the 10th grade in New York. I moved down to Louisiana. I
oh,
got I got robbed of my summer vacation because I had to go to school for a month later.
with
and and I finally this is when I started watching stuff other than WWE at the time. I knew of TNA. I've heard stories of TNA. I was watching Ultimate Fighter. TNA came on Spike, so I got to watch it every week, like religiously. So every Thursday, I think it was on Spike, I was watching it religiously every week by week, day by day. I think Wrestling Society X came on MTV2,
man,
and I was what, yeah, yeah, I was what this is the wrestling that I was watching. Um, just to let you guys know, SmackDown versus Raw 2007 had just dropped. Kurt Angle is in this game, but he's on TNA, so it's just like, what the hell? um, you know, so, but
yeah,
yeah, man, like TNA was on a big boom at the time. Like, it wouldn't be until like the next 2 years that they have like more popularity. But the reason for that popularity, that boom, was for ex WWE guys like Christian and um who else came? Booker T came, and but
Sting.
Kurt
Well,
Angle coming.
later, Sting.
Yeah, but like
There.
Sting, Jarrett, you got Raven, people like people from old WCW, WWE coming along. Um, but when Kurt Angle came to TNA, this solidified them as for real.
Yeah, this
Like
yeah.
for real. They're a real company.
We are
Like
they would say in
this
their
is this is the birth of Perk Angle, so I don't know.
yeah. This would be we are wrestling and we're about to cross the line very soon because Kurt crossed the line and you go like, oh shit, this is happening and it happens. And I remember my immediate reaction. This is year one of or year two of doing the Sharpshooters podcast. I've been around that long, yes, doing
Wow.
this. Yeah,
Wow.
so, this is almost 20 years ago. This is almost 20. This is 2006. We're in 2024.
Woo!
So
This is 20 years.
almost 18 years ago. 18 years
Yo,
ago.
man.
My initial reaction to this was, "What the fuck? Kurt Angle's gonna die. What is he doing? He's on drugs. He should be wrestling." That was my immediate reaction. I'm like, "Oh God, hopefully he take care of himself and all that. He's clean." So we get to the joke, and then I'm like, "Damn, they really went straight to the top with this." Because at the time of uh him showing up to TNA, Joe was undefeated. He was in an 18-month or whatever undefeated streak. He's already had the X Division title. He's had classics with Daniels and AJ and whatnot. He's already been established in Ring of Honor as being one of the, if not the longest Ring of Honor champion at the time. Um,
Matches with
So
Kobashi was legendary. Yep.
yeah, he's had a young career, but legendary career at this point. And for him to clash with Angle, it was like already like, oh, we're shooting with a dream match already, a match you never thought you would get. As Angle, when he left WWE, was already considered one of the one or two best wrestlers in the world. He just had his other issues with him, with injuries and drugs and whatnot. Mostly drugs because of the injuries. Um, and you go, wow, they really went for it. They're really going for this. And then it all led up to Genesis, the next pay per view, and you just go, wow, they did this shit quick. It went from Bound and Glory to Genesis, and they were like, we're doing this right off the jump. And then they have the match, and before the match even starts, you're already getting this is awesome chance. And it's one of the first times I think I've heard that. I think I've seen it maybe in Ring of Honor, or, some maybe even in ECW a little bit or something. But it was so like, oh shit, this is really about to go down. And they do not disappoint. They do not. They go through it and they have a hell of a match.
Wrestling Clinic 101.
Yeah.
You gotta watch a Samoa Joe Kurt Angle match. Um, we already know what Kurt Angle brings to the table. Greco-Roman wrestler, Olympic gold medalist in wrestling. Um, he's already a multiple-time WWE champion. Um, you know,
Yeah.
Kurt
Already a
Angle is
Hall of
Kurt
Famer.
freaking Angle.
The
Like,
weird
he
thing
didn't even.
Go ahead, go ahead. Sorry.
No, no, no. What you're about to say is about
Nah,
what I was
you
about to
finish
say.
it. I cut you off. I felt guilty. Go ahead.
Like you were saying, or like you're about to say, this man had a Hall of Fame career, and he didn't even start yet. He didn't even
Yeah,
get started.
yeah.
He could have called it a career, and he would have been in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Fucking Coco Beware. We would have
Yeah.
been connected to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he had one of the best 6-year runs in WWE. To find out that he had a longer career in TNA than he had in WWE is insane, because that's how good he was in WWE. Like, what? And then he continued to trend. His first match here with Joe, banger. Meltzer did not give this one 5 stars. He never gave Kurt Angle a 5-star match, which is insane. And you just like from the rivalry, it just comes off as like, oh, these are two good technical guys. They're going back and forth. And in this first bout at Genesis, Angle gets him. He beats him. He beats Samoa Joe, delivers Samoa Joe's first loss. And I'm going to say it right now and do it Monday morning quarterback or whatever, or 18 years later. I would argue I'm against this decision. I would rather see Samoa Joe beat Kurt Angle at Genesis than Kurt Angle beat him. So Kurt Angle was to come into TNA with this loss. I'm just saying, I would have did it. It would have protected the brand of TNA and said, "Fuck it, we've been the best for years. Our number one guy beat one of WWE's top guys, if not one of their number one guys, right off the jump." And then since they were going to rematch them all up anyway, we'll do a rematch and let Angle get his 2 wins in a row back. What say you?
So I'm a big fan of the chase.
Mhm.
Um, no, like the decision was correct. The decision was correct for Angle to beat Joe. Hey Joe, you thought that you were here, but this is elite talent now. And then, like I said, when they signed Kurt Angle, this shit's for real now. Like, you have an established star now. So now you have to elevate yourself. Anything that you thought that you were doing was good. And mind you, like, for those that never ever seen Samoa Joe wrestle, this is like a 300 pound. He looks fat, and he's just flipping, and like he's just mass. He's a big ball of mass, and
You
like
know,
I've never seen a guy his size move as quick as he does and do the things that he does at his size. He
ever,
was the first
ever.
one that I've ever seen do that,
Yeah.
and this is like oh, but Bam Bam and Vader, but like they did it rarely. And then when they did do it, it was fantastic. But Joe was doing it consistently all the time
Yeah.
with everybody. He could
You
high
gotta
fly with the high flyers. He could brawl with the brawlers. He could wrestle with the wrestlers. Like it's crazy what Joe did.
He was a 5-tool. He's a 5-tool player. If they would say it was baseball terms, like he could do it all. And this was a great showcase. And I know you call him Samoa Joe. He's fat at this point, but when you look back, this is the best shape of Samoa Joe's career in this match. Because if you look out now as current AEW champion, if he's still AEW champion when this comes out, which I'm sure he is, that's fat Samoa Joe. But he still moves like this, and he still just like his style's longevity. And when I was looking at this match, I was trying to compare Samoa Joe to anybody today, as I normally do. And the only person who I consider it, but he can't move like Joe, but he's the kind of guy that I want to see him fight everybody because that's how Samoa Joe was. And the only person I can think of is Gunther. It's like I want to see him wrestle everybody in general. And I know I say it a lot. I praise Gunther. I probably overpraise Gunther every single time, but they're the only
He
like
deserved. He's well deserved. Well deserved
the
praise.
way they
Um,
wrestle, the people they wrestle, the type of style they wrestle, this hard hitting style. I like the way they can't be beat. These long title reigns that they have, whether it's for Ring of Honor or NXT UK or whatever, or the Intercontinental run Gunther's on right now. It's just like they hold titles well, and I've always felt disappointed that no company, none of the major companies ever really ran with Joe. WWE didn't run with him, and TNA never really kind of they teased it, but they never made him the guy.
it's very unfortunate because, like, the guys that they did have in those positions, and I mean, even though those guys were the guys, like we're talking like Christian, we're talking AJ Styles, we're talking Raven, Rhino, like
Sting, whoever.
Sting, Jarrett out of necessity, but Samoa Joe could have been so much more for that company, even though he was already, but he could have been so much more.
Yeah,
And he had a pretty long tenure there too, on top of that. But bringing it back to the Kurt Angle thing, like, they have a tumultuous history together in TNA
yeah.
from, like, the first
From the first
bouts that they had,
yeah.
from
So
the first
going to the next
encounter.
two turning point. They have another match, which I think of the first three matches they had, I thought this was the best one. I thought it told the best story. I thought it was desperation on both sides. Because the premise behind this story was Kurt Angle was like, I want to give Joe a second chance because I had a second chance in my life. I'll give him a second chance to try to whoop my ass. And then they go back and forth, and it's a battle. You see Samoa Joe's desperation. I'm going to beat this guy. Angle hits him in the nuts. There's bumps in there. As exciting. Angle
Respect
taps
out the
while the
window.
referee is out. Shout out to Rudy Charles, the longest tenured like WWE referee who was refereeing this match. Angle taps, referee's out. Joe wakes him up, and you're like, oh, he's gonna lose. And then Joe gets him, chokes him out. Angle taps, and that's the end of part two. And it just told a really good story. It's a little bit longer than the first one. I think it's about 5 minutes or more, but it's a really physical, nonstop. It has more energy. You see more of the athletic
From
side
start to
in that.
finish.
Yeah, from Joe and Angle, because Angle is sneaky athletic. Like he's really athletic. Like he's an Olympic gold medalist. I'm like, yeah, everybody's like he's a natural athlete, but the quickness he has on some of the stuff and the movesaws and some of the jumps and throws he can do, I feel like people think of the technical side, but the athletic side of Angle is underappreciated.
You don't think that a guy Kurt Angle's size is doing the things that he does, and like you said, his explosiveness is really rare to see in
Yeah,
certain wrestlers and everything of that nature. So, like, when you see Kurt Angle like do a German suplex to a guy that is the size of Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe is literally shooting off the back of him and he's landing on his face instead of his neck, that's crazy.
yeah,
Strength, athleticism. I mean, he's climbing the top rope like a cat. Like, it's
yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, whenever he just breaks out like, oh yeah, I forget. He's just a great athlete. When she's like, doo, 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 around the rope, German suplex. Oh, I'm gonna dive out to the ring or something. Um, we get into match three, final resolution, Iron Man match, or as I like to call it, a fake Iron Man match. Because my Iron Man match is 1 hour. Don't give me this half hour shit. That's any other match. What's The
They
difference between the last two matches, which were about 25 to 30 minutes each anyway, and you're like, oh, they're gonna fight for 30 minutes. Who get the most pinfalls? I'm like, you give them an hour. You give them an hour. They both can laugh at the cardio. Maybe Joe couldn't. I don't know. But you give me an hour, and it goes back and forth. Angle comes out on top, and it's another banger of a match, and the rivalry is just going on. And this is in 3 consecutive months. This is back when pay-per-views were every month in TNA.
consistent every month, consistently.
Yeah.
Um, I believe that you know, uh, and this could be a hot take or whatever not, but I think Iron Man matches should be 30 minutes. And let me tell you why. An hour is too long, bro. An
You think
hour is way too long for one match. I mean, think about it. The regularly scheduled match is scheduled for one fall and with a time limit of 30, which means 30 minutes is it's over. Like you're done. It's a draw. Like this is regular one-on-one wrestle, like regularly scheduled programming. So to try to see who can get more falls in the less time is going to make it more dramatic. It's going to put more urgency on the wrestlers to try to get the fall or try to get the win, try to get a finish. Um, yeah, man, and it keeps your attention and keeps the energy high for the next match, or it'll be good for the main event and stuff like that. So I argue that Iron Man matches should be 30 minutes. Um, uh, yeah, like
You know what? I
it's
respect
better.
the
It's
argument
better
with the
30
urgency part.
minutes.
That's a good argument with the urgency part. That's a good argument. But that's also the reason I think it should be an hour. It's like you call it the Iron Man match. A lot of people can do 30 minutes and it's not an Iron Man match. Like if it's a regular 30-minute match, let's say if it's who wrestled recently? Takeshka and Will Ospreay. They go 30 minutes in their sleep, I feel like. And or Okada and Omega or Tanahashi or whoever. They do that 30 minutes in their sleep. Ric Flair used to eat 1 hour matches for lunch and then go have another hour man match.
And
So
never finish a match. He never finishes a match.
no.
We call him one of the greatest. We call him one of the greatest world champions of all time, but he never finishes his matches.
You damn right. That's how you keep your title. DQ. All right, Anderson, hit him with that elbow, and we walk out of here at the hour mark.
Now we prolong the story for what? They go, oh, I'm the greatest of all time. Oh, running away?
Damn right. I'm
I,
taking
I'm gonna I'm gonna hold the speaker four in this hour match for 15 minutes.
it.
What the fuck?
That was one of my issues with the Iron Man match with Joe and Angle this time was that it did seem like they went harder in the other matches, which were 25, 22. I don't have the exact times with me, but a little bit shorter, 10 minutes shorter, and they went harder. But in this match, they did seem like I gotta conserve. There some rest holds. They were saving their energy and whatnot. And I just felt like, no Angle could do an hour. It's just I know they can do an hour. And I would love to see it. Like I like if you're gonna call it an Iron Man match, I mean it has to be an hour. Like if I'm watching MJF and Bryan Danielson and they said they're gonna do an Iron Man match, you damn sure that shit's going 60 minutes. And I don't want to see a variation of it. Like if it's like it'd be like calling a marathon, running a marathon and saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do 12 miles of a marathon instead of I think it's 26. I don't know how many. I don't know math, but that's what I feel like. If you're gonna call it an Iron Man match, you better go an hour. If not, it's something else. It's half an Iron Man match or something. I'm doing a quarter of an Iron Man. Like you can't call it that unless you're really going for 4 hours. Anyway, we go
50
into their
Cent,
final
man.
night. There we go. I don't know what happened. I just went like that. I don't know. Maybe it's some like sorry control. But we move in to their fourth match of the rivalry at Lockdown. And this is the match that Kurt
That
Angle and
everybody's
Samoa
talking
Joe
about.
tried to change the world and the way we watch wrestling and whatnot. This was the, I guess, pseudo MMA match, kind of. I guess that's what you want to call it. When they came out, and it was basically an MMA match in the cage. And you know, I I remember watching this match and going, "What is the purpose?" Unless they're planning on doing all their matches like this. because they went for a full UFC type of style match. They did have rope break and whatnot, and it
Well,
seemed
you got it.
legit. But everything else on the show, it's made everything else seem unlegit or fake or some nonsense because this was so serious.
Well, you got to understand at that time, TNA was coming on right before or right after the Ultimate Fighter, which was picking up traction. There was a lot of MMA guys coming to TNA, Rampage Jackson, Tito Ortiz, like all these guys
You
is
say
coming in.
Pac-Man Jones, even though I know he's from the NFL. Yeah,
Pac-Man
you're right.
NFL,
I know, I
but
know, I know.
they were working that MMA angle and stuff like that. So this was kind of like a precursor. Josh Barnett actually credits this match to the idea of doing Bloodsport every fucking year. So
Hmm.
you know it's pretty
Yeah,
it's pretty interesting. That
yeah. So my argument against it, even though it was a good match, I enjoyed the match. It's fine. But my argument against what them doing
did
the
you enjoy the moonsault from the top? Because that was insane.
I'm gonna say this every time Kurt Angle does a moonsault from the top of the cage, I'm watching because the
I'm
motherfucker floats.
scared.
He floats.
I'm scared because he's doing a reverse Christ air from the
Yeah,
top. And he's doing a Christ air without a skateboard. Like,
yeah.
what are you doing?
He just floats for a minute, and you just look and you be like, and then all of a sudden speed kicks up after his float, and he just goes flat. It's like the fuck.
And he be missing
Yeah,
9 times out of 10. He
yeah. He
fucking
always miss. He always miss.
he never
The
he,
miss and always go like,
he
oh my god, I'm dead.
never hits.
I'm dead if I
The,
fall that way. I just die.
the, the perk is perking, man.
Yeah, yeah. Oh. But back
I'm
then,
still
like
alive.
whenever
I'm
this
definitely
MMA
still alive.
match, if I was a UFC fan, I would look at it and then go kind of like, this isn't. It's not real
That,
UFC. Like how
that was
look at it, see about authentic, and that's my critique of the
that was
match.
the arguments. That was the arguments I used to have in school. You watching that thick ass shit? They're in this thick ass cage with the thick ass octagon, looking ass ring, and da 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 da. It's not real. And yeah, shut up.
Yeah, it's still set up. Everything's fake. Fuck it. But that is the argument I have with this match. This one match in particular is that because I was watching UFC at the time as well, going like, oh, they're faking UFC. Like, unless they were going to just do that for the entire brand and make a blood sport, I'll be down with it. But if there's just going to be one match that does it, it kind of negates the other match, and you kind of be like, what is this? Right? Like, for me, that was my issue with the match. Other than that, it was fine. I enjoyed it. I preferred the Turning Point and Genesis match more than this one.
Yeah, the second match is the one. The turning point match is definitely the one. But I do enjoy watching some Lethal Lockdown. I mean, like, you got to think at the time, watching TNA Lockdown with the six-sided steel and
Yeah.
six-sided ring, six sides of steel. Like, it's
Well,
incredible,
I
incredible.
always thought it was a cool concept of an entire pay per view in cage matches, which was what Lockdown is. And each cage
Which in
match is a
WWE
different type.
steals.
Almost. Oh yeah,
I
almost.
mean, like the premise of the Hell in a Cell pay per view was every match was in a Hell in a Cell, and then they tossed that shit out the window, and now it's just like, damn, okay, now we got regular matches and then the Hell in a Cell match. It's like, okay,
No, the original cell there was just one. They would only have one for each.
no, so there was the very first Hell in a Cell pay per view, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they had, and it was like every single match is a Hell in a Cell match, blah blah blah, and it was, and then they stopped doing it. I guess this is because people getting hurt, and they didn't want fucking everybody to be part of this big massive thing. They didn't want to be like TNA, so then they just was like, okay, we'll hold the pay per view, but it'll be just the one or two Hell in a Cell matches, and then everything else is just regular degular. So
No, but I support all of them being cage match. I support Lockdown. Like I think when they do, every year, it's just
Lethal
even cage
Lockdown was
matches
great.
aside. Yeah,
Yeah, Lethal Lockdown was
weapons and
great.
stuff and all that. Yeah, like I enjoyed them trying to like, oh, how do we do a twist on the cage match this time? And this was the
Well,
twist. This was
it's
the twist for this
basically
one on this for
it,
their match. It was MMA.
it was their war games mixed with a Hell in a Cell. Like, you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? That's
yeah. It was a good. It's a fine mix. Like, most people when you think of lockdown, there's only one clip that comes to mind as Eli Skipper tightrope in the cage and flipping and everything. That the main thing
we
people
gotta
think of
talk about
lockdown.
that tag match. We gotta talk about that tag title match
Yeah, eventually we get over
sometime.
there to Eli Skipper when we talk about some good old fashioned America's
America's
Most
Most
Wanted,
Wanted, you know,
Team Canada, and Eli, yeah, all that.
what a
Um,
match.
but here's my next question. Of the rivalry of Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle throughout the time in TNA, and I'm not sure if I think they had one shitty match on Raw or whatever it was. That they were both past their prime, and it was just like Angle was done and get ready to have Baron Corbin retire or whatever the hell it was going to happen. But do you think this is Kurt Angle's greatest rivalry with Samoa Joe? Is this his greatest rival?
No, no. Definitely not. No. Kurt Angle's greatest rivalry has to go to three dudes, and it's not in TNA.
No.
It's not in TNA. It's not with AJ. It's not with Joe. It's not with whoever else. It's not with Christian.
Yeah.
It's not with
Okay.
nobody. Okay. Number one, first and foremost, is HBK. His rivalry with Shawn Michaels was one of the greatest rivalries I've seen. I just uh, put in perspective. I just recently playing the WWE 2K24 WrestleMania Showcase and rewatching it and then replaying it through. I played 2K14's Year 30 WrestleMania. Like the match is
Hmm.
it still works. It's still the same. It's still great. The whole ankle hurt, the build up, the Kurt Angle winning, like it was great. It was great to see. Um, Number two, um, I know a lot of people don't like talking about him, but him and Benoit have,
Oh boy.
and I, I'm just saying, as a wrestling enthusiast, whether Angle and Benoit was tagging or they were facing each other in the ring, and even in those triple threat matches that they had at WrestleMania, or the one on ones that they had, the Iron Man matches that they've had, and whether it's for a title or not for a title, Kurt Angle and Benoit is just chemistry all around. And then the number one rivalry for Kurt Angle is Brock Lesnar. Like it just is. Like WrestleMania 19 was peak. It was peak Brock and peak Angle at the same time.
Yeah.
There, it gets no better version of both of them right there, right? And it's arguable for Brock, but it's not arguable for Kurt. That was peak Kurt Angle. WrestleMania 19.
It's a good
WWE
argument.
champion Kurt
Good
Angle.
argument. I'm going to counter argue because that makes compelling television, and say I want Samoa Joe and Kurt Angle was both of their best rivals. I would even go with Joe. I know Joe has Punk and everything, but I think in the series of matches and in the time frame, I think they
I
were
wouldn't even go.
perfect rivals.
I wouldn't even go. Joe Punk, right? I think of the Kowabashis, right? I think of um, Joe and AJ. I think of Joe and Jay Lethal, right? I think of
Joe and Jay Lethal,
but
that's underrated.
I mean, like, come on,
That's
man, like,
underrated. That's an underrated
jeez,
rivalry.
like these matches just Joe Danielson before
Yeah.
Punk, those were good.
So
Not saying that Joe Punk
yeah,
isn't
yeah,
good, but
yeah. But I think that in the downward slide of Angle's career, this is because he had the peak 6 years and then the TNA years, he had good years. It's not like they were all bad, but this is
I mean,
closer to
it's the
now.
birth of the main event mafia, baby.
Yeah,
It's the
well,
main event mafia.
2 years away from that. Uh, when just the back and forth between them and the matches, I would say that this is the best series of matches because Kurt Angle had a lot of one offs. Like he would go with people and have him here. Oh, I'm gonna fight Sean here, but I'll go do something else after. Oh, I'll fight Taker here. I'll do something else. Oh, I'm fighting Brock. Oh, sorry. I'll fight Brock here. I'm gonna fight him again until I'm fighting Japan. And then like it goes here and there. But this was a consistent, few months, like 3 months right off the jump. They take a little time off. I think about maybe a year or two before they get to the lockdown match. And then they probably have a little some more shit in the middle of that. And I'm like,
I
this is a
mean,
consistent rivalry for them.
Angle had Stone Cold. He had Triple H to deal with. He had Kane to deal with for a little bit. He had Jericho to deal with for a little bit. He wrestled China for a minute. Like Angle was wrestling.
He went through everybody really fast in like 6 years, and you just go like, God,
Eddie Guerrero Angle
yeah,
at WrestleMania 20 is still talked about. Like
yep, it's still great, yeah. So
Eddie Rey Mysterio. I mean, Angle Rey Mysterio.
yeah,
SummerSlam 2005, 2006, or some shit.
2002, 2002.
2002, 2002, 3. Yo, what?
Yeah. So with that being said, is this the greatest TNA rivalry of all time?
We're gonna have to save that for another episode.
There's a lot of TNA rivalries over the years. Like you
A
go into
lot.
deep concepts of this, but I feel like this is the one rivalry that put TNA on the map, and this was them at their rising up slash almost their peak. Like we're not their peak per se. Like it's right before Hogan get in and fuck everything up pretty much, and
It's
then
still
they're
your big
off
thing.
TV. Then they're off TV and they end up on like pop and shit, and then they disappear and fucking I think it's gone down here, but this was all the wrestlers in their prime, from AJ to Joe to Kurt and whatever, and they were all on the
Daniel,
rise. Yeah, and
Xavier Woods, Consequences Creek.
it's when I went back and saw this footage, and I go, damn, TNA had it, and I don't understand why it just never. I mean, there was a lot of other issues that go into this, a lot of poor like
The
decisions and
the
booking,
WCW
and
problem.
yeah, there's a lot of
The
shit like that,
WCW problem.
quote unquote creative issues with that, but why did it take off? But I feel like talent wise, it went pound for pound with anybody in the world at that point.
Son, at that point in time,
WWE and I'm talking about even AEW. AEW sounds ridiculous right now; they're overloaded. But I'm just saying, it would challenge even them. And a few years ago, when it was like, oh, they don't have anybody. Like just the talent on that roster, you just like, damn, they were.
what I always admired about TNA, Impact Wrestling, Anthem, GFW, whatever the fuck you want to call it. What I've always admired about them is that you would take stars away and they would just build new ones. They have this uncanny ability to build new stars from the ground up, make them here. They'll get taken away for whatever reason and then build the next man up.
Yeah, and you know what? They also
They
have
always have
Lazarus
one in
Pit.
the chute. They have always one in the chute.
Yeah, they have Lazarus Pick effect, in which your career could be dying. You show up in Impact, and all of a sudden you're like full circle again.
Resurge,
Yeah, whether you're Drew
Galloway,
McIntyre,
McIntyre,
yeah, Naomi, Cody
Bobby
Rhodes getting a
Lashley,
bid, but
Cody, Angle, Christian became a legend because of this, right? Freaking Rhino is respected because of this. Raven, more respected because of this. Abyss, well, Abyss is like that is his career. Um, I'm trying to think of guys who would never be world champion elsewhere unless they were Rich Swann. His career was done. Rich Swann's career was done, and then he became Impact champion.
if you even think about people like
Sammy Callahan.
LA Knight, Eli Drake, basically made his name in TNA. I mean, he was in NWA Championship Hollywood. Then he went to NWA.
He was
But
champion.
he
He was
became the
champion.
shit.
He was dummy. Yeah. I need him to bring the dummy button back. He brings that dummy button back.
There's also like people like EC3 who was like just thrown away from WWE, and then he made a name for himself on Impact.
Old
People
man
on
himself.
Impact to make a name, and it should be they should not be where they are today, as in this third small tier promotion that seems to be trying to get a little bit back. As it as it seems like they're always reaching. It's the most surviving promotion in the planet.
Eric
At this
Young.
point, yeah, at this point where TNA and Samoa Joe wrestling, this was them 5 years in. We're 18 years later, this shit or whatever, and you're like, fuck, they're still surviving somehow, even with adversity. Even though people are protesting and boycotting within their own company, whatever the fuck's going on with all that stuff, they still are surviving in this company. And you know what? That's to the guys like the loyal fan base of Impact Wrestling or whatever, keeping them alive.
Guys like me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a subscriber to TNA Plus. That's how I watch most.
So am I.
Yeah.
So am I.
Don't
I
you?
have to. Like, I literally have to, because, there were some matches like back in the day in different eras of Impact that I just go back to, and I'm just like, what happened to this?
Yeah,
What
like
happened to that?
they have classics in there, and like before AEW and before NXT went on their run of pay per view of takeovers being like classics, or AEW and all their pay per view of like every pay per view is a banger. TNA was that dude who was giving you more bang for your buck than anybody on the planet, and that's in the toughest
That
competition, even with Ring of Honor and stuff going on. TNA would be like, "No, we can outdo that show," and they would.
that
Most of them.
that pay-per-view would cost $20, and you would get a 5-star show
Yeah.
every single time.
Hold
I
on.
remember.
Bucks. I'm going with Don West going for only $9.99.
Look, by the time it was $20, that's when I could afford paying that. I didn't have a job back then. Dad, you got $10? The fuck? What are you doing? Watching wrestling? Hell no.
Where you want to watch? I want to watch some TNA. Tits and ass.
That 10.
No.
No, Dad, no.
Total
We're not talking about watching that damn Spice Channel. You want to watch some skin flicks? Watch Cinemax. Cinemax at the park. Wait till 12.
Get you a King
Get your
magazine.
dick down.
Here you go.
Here's a bunch of VHS tapes. I don't know what's on them. Oh, no. What do you mean?
But yeah, like in the comments below, tell us what do you think the greatest TNA rivalry of all time is, or if Samoa Joe and Angle is the greatest rivalry, they're just each other's greatest rival, or whatever. Whatever comments you want to leave, just leave them. Don't care what it is. You say, "Hey Jamal, I like your shirt." Leave that as a comment. Marcus, hey,
Yeah.
you today, leave that as a comment. Marcus, why is your background different from the previous episodes? Different? Oh, because I moved probably 3 weeks ago. Leave it in the comments.
Where the hell is your flags, Jamal? That's not your normal background.
That's not your background. Leave it in the comments below. Don't worry. But yeah, you can check out more Jamal on the Mid Card Mess podcast on SoundCloud, Three Faces of Jamal. You can read it down there below. You can find me. I'm here every day on this channel, so we're doing something nonsense. I don't know. It could be a try not to laugh. It could be WrestleMania watch alongs or NXT or whatever. Who knows? Or just ranting about nonsense, ranting about people doing moves. Like I got a full rant about wrestlers doing moves. I hate it.
What the fuck? You see that arm?
I'll
You see that arm?
give you, yeah, I'll give you a mini rant. I'll give you a mini rant. And this may give you a time frame when this is taking place. There was no Untitled Mania Market show this week of the recording of this thing. It was the day after Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay put on a banger of a match for an AEW main event. They went back and forth. It was fucking crazy. But old curmudgeon 39-year-old Marcus goes, I'm tired of all these moves, man. It's just too many moves. It's just too many. Lay the guy out with one. You shouldn't have to do power driver, elbow, thump something, kill him. There shouldn't be this much to take out one guy.
If you're talking about the match I think you're talking about, then I believe
What you call him in Osprey.
Yeah. So like when he hit him with the elbow the first time, he had the elbow pad on.
I don't care. Kill him. It should have killed him.
He took it off.
20 power bombs or everything else. There was just too many moves. I just felt like
Hey, don't disrespect this move set like that. It's a Liger bomb, damn it.
Liger driver 91, 97, or 98. It should be one of these to take it down. There's too many, I want to say, high impact moves where I go like, come on, man, can't let you get kicked out of that. Or I'm done with it. Just end it. Or the match I really want to talk about, the one that made me mad, I think to put me in the mood anyway, was Hook kicking out the F5 that landed on the chair after their match. And I was like, come on, man, let him die. To me, out of everything. I'm still thinking, like, I want moves to matter. That's all I want. I'm sorry, that's the rant. It's
Storytelling matters. Storytelling matters in pro wrestling.
That's the rant. That's all the rant.
You don't want to make it feel like a WWF No Mercy where everything is fucking being reversed. Can't reverse everything, damn it.
Yeah. So let's move hit.
What you mean you kicked out of my super finisher? What the fuck is this?
What the fuck is this?
This is the 8th category. This is my 8th category. Damn it. I don't have no other moves. Roll up, win the match. What the fuck? How?
It just bugs me.
And you lose. They roll you up. You hit 6 pedigrees.
Yeah.
They roll you up.
Like, I can't do it. I'm a tap. And I argue the ref. That wasn't a fast count. Get my heat back. We rematch it up and do the same thing. I'm just saying, with the matches we've covered on this show, some of the older ones, I do appreciate the Samoa Joes and Kurt Angles where you're not getting power drive through a table and then thrown through some glass and then suplex off the top rope and then kick out on 2 after the muscle buster or something. I'm just saying they stayed down for most of those moves. Just don't stay down. Just sell the move a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. You know, not everybody got to kick out of everything. Stay down. Or do a different move. Just do a different move. You don't need to do a Canadian destroyer through a table and be like, nah.
Nah, I'm good. I had the payback badge.
Yeah. Oh, I just took the Canadian destroyer onto the hardest part of the ring on the outside. I got up and then Superman punched the other guy as he super kicks me through the ropes into the ring. Does a 450 on me. I kick out on 1. I don't want to see that shit.
I tap triangle and L2 for resiliency.
You know what it feels like when I watch it? I told this again. I feel as a mini rant. You know what it feels like when I watch people continue to kick out of moves? It's like watching somebody on the street shoot a guy over and over and over again, and that person's like, "Nah, I'm not dead yet. Why? A clip in you. You should be dead.
Bulletproof vest, bitch.
Bulletproof vest. All right, I shot him in the head. Yeah, but I'm still not dead yet.
Metal plate hole. Shrapnel to the face.
Unless you're Superman, I don't want to see you kicking out on 2. That's a certain move.
No, it's not. It's not Superman. It's the $1 Million Man, the real one. You know, the bicentennial one.
Yeah. Anyway, we ended the show like 20 minutes ago. I'll see you guys later. Have a good day. Samoa Joe, I ain't go great, man. TNA, woohoo. Right, like and subscribe. The show ended like 20 minutes ago, but we continued on the rant.